Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Awakening Philosophy podcast. My name is Jed. Thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful adventure. Now, last time we were discussing the new member in the class of interpreters of truth, or interpreters. One of our quests on this book is to discover, hopefully, a hierarchically ordered list of all of the ways human beings respond or interpret truth. Respond to or interpret truth. We have 7 on the list now. And we started with, of course, those who just reject the new in favor of blind loyalty to the old. And all human beings have that to an extent because that's what we do when we're in our problem. That is the nature of our problem. And I just have to maybe... Let me just bump up the gain a little bit. I think that's a bit better. All right, I have to turn the volume up a little bit. I think we should be right. Everybody does that to a certain extent. That's our blind spot, which is caused by our false belief about self and reality that we carry from childhood, called the pathologos, that we falsely identify, that as we've been reading, manifests as daydreams and fantasies and distractions and tangents from staying on what we're focused on, tangents from following the question, tangents from being able to stay on track with what our goal is. Now, and tangents from being able to respond to what's happening in the moment. Also fantasies, that's another way of understanding tangents. Projecting onto the moment something you feel is more real because it reflects your belief of reality and your image of yourself, preventing you from having a clear mind and responding to appropriately the moment. So that's what keeps our false beliefs alive. And we have been contrasting tangents and fantasies and daydreams with philosophical speculation. You can't just not think. But what you can do is just what's the word? Direct your thinking in the best possible kind of a way, making use of the 2 things that make us different from cabbages and caterpillars, our ousia and logos, our capacity for self-reflection, which we make use of through questions, which undoes the certainty that is attached to our false beliefs. I just know this is what is real, says every racist person and sexist person and religious person ever. So certainty, that keeps us stuck in our problems. We can make use of our states of mind and capacity for wondering and curiosity through questions. That's ousia. The other thing that comes hand in hand with ousia is intelligibility, or logos. We can learn how to use understanding or use language in the best kind of a way. You only have to turn on the internet or the television and instantly you're bombarded with people who are using language in a shitty way. Debate bros, or preachers, or scammers, or advertisers. This is the misuse or the abuse of language. To use language in order to lie or manipulate people, usually by manipulating their beliefs. Beliefs, of course, is the problem once again. The shapes and images that you relate to through your sense perception, which is where beliefs come from, are manipulated by grifters and capitalists and fascists and religious authorities and political authorities, you name it. The list of injustice goes on and on and on. So that's the misuse of language. What we have to do, or our purpose here, is to learn how to use language properly, how to develop the skill of understanding and practice that skill. There's our learning and nurture. another pair of terms that we're here to do specifically. And in the practice or the nurturing of our understanding, we can master it, which means being able to use our skill to benefit the subject, not benefit the practitioner, although we do get a benefit from doing what we're here to do, mastering the art. But that's what an art is, to use the skill to benefit the subject in question. The art of logos, or language, or reason, or intelligibility, that's the dialectic. Makes use of questions and understanding. And a good dialectician, has to use both. They have to choose the right questions to ask to keep the conversation following the path of reasoning or logos that leads to truth and understanding. Notice, it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
Because it's understanding, meaning, but while belief is about division and oppression and violence and killing people, as Abraham was instructed to kill, so too the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, the big three, must also kill who they are told to kill. That's the savagery and stupidity of Abrahamic religions. But all religions are based on belief. So they are all harmful and against life and our human purpose in principle. That's what we want to avoid. But what we want to do the difference between that and understanding is it's a win-win, as I press the button.
Win-win-win-win-win.
Win-win-win-win-win. Because everyone benefits from understanding. In other words, the dialectic takes both people step by step together, following reason. You're both understanding. You don't have to have a victim or a sinner that you can demonstrate your belief by oppressing, as we see in all sorts of politics and religion. No, you both understand, because it's just true. That's the path of truth. Understanding of also benefits. So it's the path of truth and benefit or good. And it leads us to the real nature of reality through the illusions of belief and image thinking. So that's the inner triad of true, good, and real. That's the inner triad that is a description of our motivation and the forces of the fundamental forces of the soul and what motivates our behavior. We seek what we consider to be real, good, and true. The problem that we have to overcome as human beings is we carry an unsuspected false belief about those things, false belief about self and reality that we have to learn the art of dialectic to remove. And you can only be in the process of removing it if you're also seeking the truth. So that's the art of dialectic. Making use of questions that follow a path or a hierarchical or ordered arrangement of questions that you can follow with anyone. Making, of course, variations to meet the person where they're at, but as it's truth, it's always the same. So you can ask the right questions, but also judge the answers. You want to make sure the person is answering the question and not going off on their own tangents or distractions or trying to take over the conversation themselves or hurling abuse or throwing racist attacks or any sort of that shit. Just question and answer. That's it. Making use of ousia and logos. That's the art of the dialectic. I haven't seen many people who can do that well. In fact, most media or journalists or reporters or debate moderators whose job is specifically to do that don't know the dialectic, and they act in the stupidest possible ways. In fact, they are lying specifically, most of them. They ask loaded questions, often sneaking in the answer they want. Given that the Jews are the chosen people and the Palestinians are evil and savages, what do you say about these claims, oh, that's anti-Semitic. See? The answer they wanted, they snuck in as the question. That's not asking questions well. Also, I saw today someone, Charlie Kirk's widow, who's taking over his empire, was asked, hey, you are always attacking the left, the people who want to benefit people and understand problems. You attack them for being violent, but the leader of your right-wing fascist group happens to be the president and the one with all the power, and he today called to murder his political opponents. Wouldn't you also want to speak out against that? And her answer was, it's a good question. You know, I think problems start in the family, in the home, and if you believe in Jesus, then you'll have a good family. Completely going on a tangent, using the buzzwords that appeal to the shapes and colors of their fascist religious base. Jesus, family, that kind of shit. And the wasn't a journalist, the propagandist didn't do her job and hold her to answering the question. So, questions and answers, that's what we make use of in the dialectic. That's the art that we're here to master. Isn't that neat? So, a single activity that makes use of our two highest evolved capacities, ousia and logos, that makes use of questions and answers, allowing us to follow together hand in hand as friends the path of reason that leads to truth, understanding, and benefit. It's a win-win-win.
Win-win-win-win-win.
Allowing us to do our human job of evolving from the cognitive function, or the way of making sense of the world of belief, into understanding. Now, in the 6th century, so around 529 AD, the people who were studying understanding and philosophy at the academy were murdered by Fuckface McGee, the Christian Emperor Justinian, who murdered or exiled the philosophers, shut down the academy, burnt the libraries, and instead instituted belief or faith, which of course is a savage or caveman-like cognitive function that abuses ousia and logos. So, only allows for a shallow amount of self-reflection. Believers don't ask questions. That's not what they do. They're instead told to, hey, if you buy what we're selling, you get to pretend to be the knower. You can cosplay as the knower. So, for example, that interview with Charlie Kirk's widow, she doesn't know anything. She's very ignorant, but she was mimicking the mannerisms of her religious preachers or ministers as she said nothing, waffled, used some religious buzzwords, paused meaningfully, but that's the payoff. She got to pretend to be the knower. So for all the sexist and anti-human religious oppression that she lived through, now she gets the payoff. She gets to fold her arms and act like she knows shit she doesn't. She gets to fake or cosplay the knower. That's the appeal. That's the addiction. Because those people lied to us in our society by claiming to be real, good, and true. So that's the inner triad. That's what we seek. We all seek our highest good, the truth, and what's real. We all want to be our best. So that's the pathologos Peters principle. Peters principle, I've repeated this a few times, but it's a fun idea. When you're in a job, you do well, you get promoted. You do well, you get promoted. You don't do well, you don't get promoted. So you're stuck at the level that you are ignorant at. You rise to your level of ignorance, or you rise to your level of incompetence. That's the same thing for the pathologos. People who are not learning the dialectic will end up living their life seeking opportunities to cosplay the knower, which is why as soon as Charlie Kirk was assassinated, she was like, oh, I'm so excited, now I can be the knower. I can be a professional opinion haver and project all my ignorance instead of reflecting myself and solving my problems. It's not me who wants to kill the immigrants, it's Jesus, and I get to tell you who to kill. Very violent, very awful, very savage. That's our caveman roots. So, given that at the beginning of the Dark Ages, Emperor Fuckface McGee, who we say to him,
You moron. You absolute fucking buffoon. You goddamn idiot.
Goddamn idiot, was out there killing people, killing the best human beings. We had one guy named Dionysius who snuck into the Christian tradition, snuck into the Bible, understanding what human beings need to overcome their problems and reach their excellence. The language or logos we need, because language is our method. That's what we make use of. You can't shoot foreigners into enlightenment. You can't steal all the wealth through capitalism into enlightenment. You can't poison the water for profit into enlightenment. It's words. Words. That's how we make use of mind. So, smuggling in the right words to for our reflection on the self or the one, mind or oneness, and the physical world or the cosmos. The three fundamental levels of reality that we need to understand and move through for our purpose: to know the self, to know the mind and know the self, and throw off the shackles of our false beliefs about the mind and the self. So Dionysius, that's what we've been talking about, the seventh category of interpretation. And here we have the list. So far we have, when you introduce a new truth, you have people who reject the new and stay loyal to the old, the stagnant or the brainwashed or the stuck people, zombies. Those, number two, those who claim to speak for the new while actually remaining loyal to the old. Paul, claiming to speak for Jesus while actually just passing on his dumb beliefs. That's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Number three, those who take a piece of the new as a patch to patch up the coat of the old. Patchwork coat model, that's the Kabbalah. That takes a little bit of Parmenides and introduces it into the Sephardic religious tradition. You have number four, the rejecter of the rejecter. Mark, who saw what Paul was doing and said, no way. You have the supporter of the rejecter, John, who said, I like what Paul's doing. His type of injustice and oppression matches mine. I'm going to jump in his bandwagon. The Gospel of Paul. Let me just see if I can make my lighting a little better. Like that. Turn this one down then. Nah, we'll stick with this. I don't know. I seem a bit red in this lighting. Number six, those who advance certain parts and ignore others. So, because we killed Socrates, bad for us. Before he was able to pass on to Plato, who started the academy, who then had Proclus and Plotinus follow. We killed Socrates before he was able to pass on to Plato philosophical midwifery and dream analysis. That meant that these dudes were able to talk about the dialectic to truth or philosophy, but of course lacked what the important parts of the dialectic, midwifery and dream analysis, that are both needed for our development. And now we have number seven, those who appear loyal to the old while creating an alternative to the literal reading of those old core beliefs. So that's Dionysius. Hey, you like this Jesus stuff? What if, like, Jesus and then God wanting to kill certain people and rape certain people and enslave certain people and jealous and hungover and all this shit? What if none of that was real? Because of fucking course not. What kind of a God is like that? But what if we took it metaphorically to examine the relationships as one of two things, either an expression of human problems or relationships that apply to actual metaphysical ideas like the one, oneness, and the physical cosmos, so we can understand those things. That's where we are. So, given that, let's jump in and see what the church's response is to this hero, it seems, Dionysius. Press the button. And here is our text. So, so the core beliefs are interpreted philosophically thanks to Dionysius sneaking in what we need. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. I'm happy with my lighting today. To the core beliefs are interpreted philosophically while giving the appearance of loyalty to the core belief. We have a new member of our class of interpreters. Because it was found that his work was actually from the 6th century and not the 1st, like the first 100 years where Jesus was kicking it. It was around the time when the people were getting murdered by the Emperor Justinian. The 6th century, around 500 something AD. Some people have rejected Dionysius. But if it's possible to reject an interpretation that challenges literal reading of core beliefs, and of course taking it literally is to be a barbarian according to the Greeks, then the loyalty to the literalness will reassert itself and reject philosophical interpretation. But if we have to reject him, we have to reject Thomas Aquinas, because he cites him well over 1,000 times. And also Thomas Aquinas is the kind of the linchpin in Christian theology. So if you reject him, you reject Tommy. And if you reject Tommy, you reject all of the other jabronis that followed, trying to say that there is any legitimacy to Christian belief. Controversial, says Jesus. Your skill for controversy, few can match. Controversial because, while true, people who are stupid won't like it. People who are abusive and abusing people through manipulating others through belief won't like it. Is that controversial? I've never understood that. But I guess for human bods, it is. But you're saying that as there is a need for understanding and practicing some spiritual practice or meditation, so the religion must be open to bringing into their system such practices. Sounds simple, I would say, except that you are really saying that to the degree the spiritual element in man surfaces, so he should be open to whatever spiritual instruction and practice can meet his need. Okay, I'm going to turn up the light and then turn down this setting here. Turn it off. All right, keep it like that. So you need to understand and you need to experience. And if you don't have that in your tradition, you don't have some sort of, by the way, dialectical understanding is meditation. Sustained, focused attention on what is, with an open, curious state of mind, using your highest vision and understanding. That's what makes it the best meditation. You're also using your understanding. You're also making use of your own natural interest. It's not a koan or a mantra you got from someone else. You want to know yourself. You want to know the reality you're in, and you want to know how to remove your problems. So to keep that up over a sustained period turns concentration into meditation, and because what you are focused on is self and reality, You have the ability to experience it in a different cognitive function, or awaken the eye of the soul and experience it too. So you need the understanding, and the understanding is the practice. But of course, there are other different sorts of meditations you can incorporate. Breath stuff. There's a whole list. We've been talking about pleasure, and you can use the immediacy and the intimacy and the energy stimulated in physically pleasurable experiences to fuel your philosophical speculation, the opposite of daydreams and fantasy. So love and logos, that's meditation. Says Socrates, if any religion lacks such understanding of the practices necessary for the soul's quest for union with the divine, and beyond that, knowing the self, they should be open to absorbing from spiritual systems what they themselves lack. Now, understanding involves a hierarchy of ideas. And in doing so, he found a place for the central ideas of philosophy. Dionysius disguised himself as if he were a founder of Christian metaphysics, and developed further the notion of using hierarchical order in his philosophy. So he advanced our philosophy. However, he belongs to the class of those who prefer to present their ideas in a disguised form. That's our seventh category. Sneaking it in. Keep your head on your shoulders. Lots of metaphors, probably lots of movies, as like sci-fi movies. The alien race is taking over, so you pretend to be an alien when you are really smuggling in what you need for the humans to save themselves. Analogy. I couldn't think of one. So offering an alternative to the understanding of the core beliefs of the old system. He uses the new... Oh, this is it. So this is why we talk about this is human response to new understanding. Or new truth. So if we can objectively understand our purpose objectively as human beings, and we can objectively understand what we need to solve our problems that we're not solving.
No one seems to be learning or growing or addressing actual problems.
That's some more news, checking them out on YouTube. And we can objectively understand what we need for our excellence, then we need to introduce it. Hey, dudes, look at what Socrates has been saying. And these other fly cats. We could do that. And stop suffering and stop ending our race and stop polluting our planet and stop hurting everyone and hurting yourself, because you will have to reincarnate into a kind of life where you will have to suffer the injustice you're doing. So you're not going to get away scot-free, billionaires. Maybe we should have fun and learn and reach our excellence and potential. And human beings will say no. They will say,
disgusting. I'm so disgusted.
I'm so disgusted.
Kant would say some fucking bullshit.
Kant would say some fucking bullshit. So we need to understand those as best we can, so we can navigate that negative response, so human beings can be more receptive to the very thing that they want. We all want to know ourselves. We all want to remove our problems. And so that's the idea of real, their own benefit or goodness. We all want what's good, by definition. And also we all want the truth. No one wants to be lied to or scammed to. So human beings will respond against what's real, good and true. They'll say, no, I would rather kill you than get the goodness, the truth and the realness I want, because I'm blindly, savagely, blindly and savagely loyal to my family clan way of being and my false teachers who indoctrinated me into it. So we don't like that. Just as a doctor might say, hey, you need to take this medicine, otherwise you'll die. and a patient says, I don't want to because I'm 4 years old and that medicine tastes yucky. Now, a doctor has to find a way of saying, oh, you know what? If you try the medicine, I'll give you a lollipop. That kind of thing. And we have to use a 4-year-old in this analogy because that's how fucking stupid human beings are because of cognitive function of belief. That's how savage we are. No other animals treats ourselves with this cruelty and savagery human beings treat their own species and the planet they fucking live on. Only belief does that. So, we don't want people to be hurting themselves or us, and we don't want to end our human race because there's a purpose for our existence, individually and collectively, so it seems. So we've been reading in the text. So we need to understand all of these different ways human beings say no way, so we can understand them, maybe understand how you can move from one to the other to become more receptive. Catch the way people reject. Oh yeah, you're just pretending to listen. You're a wolf in sheep's clothing. We need to examine that. If these are all interpretations, that falls into the class of belief. Like fantasies, like our problems, like our projections of what's not there, or blind spots of what is there. That's interpretation. That's how our problems manifest. So if these are interpretations, it's not the ideal. Which is interesting because Socrates is saying, I want to point to all of the wonderful things Dionysius did, but still he's interpreting. So what would be the alternative? Just tell the truth and get shot by the Christians? It's a puzzle. So, number 7, appearing loyal to the old while creating an alternative to the literal reading of those old core beliefs, giving human beings what they need to develop. So yeah, let's keep reading. Bring in our bods. Yes, says Jesus, he is a new member of our order of interpreters. Thanks for that. However, I would like you to unpack the notion that you just dropped into our talk. What is this idea of order? Oh yes, so that was an example of a hierarchical order of understanding that we can master so that we can use it to benefit. That's understanding. See the parts, see how they're arranged, ordered harmoniously within a whole that we can then use. It's a win-win-win.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. Right?
Do a poggers.
And we do a poggers. What's this idea of order? The hierarchy Dionysius established became the foundation for the ecclesiastical order of the clergy, and this is also the basis for creating a hierarchy of souls. Ooh, a hierarchy of souls. Not all souls are the same, it seems. This is, of course, another example of finding in the many those divisions or classes that can make intelligible. Woof. That can make intelligible the underlying order, so that the particular advantage of each can be brought forth. Oh, what a sentence. Let's just pause and soak in this goddamn banger of a sentence. Okay, first of all, Dionysius established there should be an order of the clergy. Not everyone should be captain of the basketball team. Not everyone should be vice captain. Which can be used to understand what's more important, the hierarchy of souls. What are the stages of development that souls can move through? And it's in finding the divisions or classes of souls that you can make intelligible, bring to light in your graspability of mind. You can make sense of make intelligible the underlying order. So we want to see the logos in what we're interested in, so that the particular advantage of each can be brought forth. Now that's an interesting way of looking at it. I was just talking about this list of interpretation is just bad. But there could be an advantage of going through this process. Maybe? Like, for example, the wolf in sheep's clothing? Is Dionysius an example of the advantage of that? Like Paul giving the bad instead of the good, but Dionysius giving the good instead of the bad? Is that an example of... Or maybe there's a benefit, a kind of benefit we can each get from going through each level. Hang on a second. There we go. So I'll put the name. Dionysius down here, number 7. So the particular advantage of each can be brought forth. We find this again in the Platonic division of souls into classes from the Republic. Hooray. Different sorts. I often talk about, like today I talked about the most ignorant, Mrs. Kirk, using religious words to pretend to be a knower when she's completely ignorant, while also being a mouthpiece for fascism and religious oppression. That's a terrible way of being, but I often talk about the rare sorts of birds in the world who are naturally inclined to understanding, who genuinely want to benefit, who have an ability or a knack or a skill of solving problems. People who use what they do to pause, champ, and address individuals so that they can benefit them. Whether or not they know it's the dialectic they're doing, some people are out there doing it. It's rare. It's fantastic. It makes the world less of a terrible place to see these sorts of people out in the world. So these are different types of people. And Plato puts them into 5 classes in the Republic. It doesn't say what those classes are, but he uses the metaphor of political states. So the worst, of course, is tyranny. Those who are certain in their beliefs and act tyrannically. The second last is number 4, democracy. Democracy, the democratic soul, have no principles, what we would call the establishment left, and they just go this way or that way based on their whims. Every belief is equal in a democracy. Now, you don't do any democratic voting when flying a plane. The pilot never goes into the cabin and says, okay, all you passengers, there's a problem with the engine. Should I press the blue or red button? We're going to have a vote. Never ever happens. Never happens with a mechanic or a doctor or a surgeon or a pilot or an architect. It's a stupid way of solving problems. Democracy. Now, of course, in our modern understanding of democracy, it's better than a dictatorship or a tyranny. And also, it contains the principle of people being able to be heard because the fascists who are attracted to positions of power because of the pathologos Peter's principle we have to have some way of making them pay attention to the people they're supposed to be fucking helping because they don't want to. But still, if anything goes and all opinions are equal, then you have a Republican Party. Someone who is actively trying to end the world and kill as many people for the personal profit of a dozen families. The worst kind of tyranny is just as equal as someone who wants to actually help and actually has understanding. So the democratic soul, of course, ends up with, like in capitalism, people stealing for themselves and not caring about others, and then a tyrant comes along and says, you need me. So just as Donald Trump said, just as Putin and Netanyahu and all of these fascists say, you need to vote for me, a fascist, to solve the problems created by democracy. These capitalists are hurting everyone. You need me to drain the swamp. So the establishment left, of course, creating the conditions for the worst person, the most cartoonishly ignorant and oppressive person, Donald Trump, to get voted in a second time. The incompetence of democracy, leading to of the democratic soul. There is no truth. All opinions are the same. Remember, it's a metaphor. It's not literally democracy. But it is the establishment left, creating the conditions for the right or the tyranny. So 5, 4, tyranny, democracy. 3, of course, is the oligarchic soul, to be ruled by your desire for money. Money. So you can play out your pathologos problems with wealth, capitalism, of course. Hurt the people you want to hurt because you got the money and the bombs, and you can take advantage of the starving children, make them do things for you, either be your workers or do other terrible things. No one's mentioning the Epstein list on this stream because of oppression of others through capital or money. The oligarchic soul, to desire money, to desire wealth or physical pleasure. The second is the timocratic soul. Timocratic is a funny word. Think of Timmy. Timmy, who wears a knight outfit, armor, has a sword and a shield, because the timocratic soul seeks honor. They want to go to war and battle. They want to be better than oligarchic. At least they have some principle. They want to be seen as honorable. Often they're war hawks, unfortunately. But of course, if the oligarchic soul, you can think of our desire part of our soul, our belly, the outward seeking, we desire the good, but the corruption of that is desiring pleasure, like the oligarchic soul. When we move, we make use of the force of our soul that directs us to do actions in the world. And when we do actions, we want to be seen well. We want fame or notoriety, or to be seen as a just person or an honorable person. So that's our courage or our honor seeking or our truth seeking. So our desiring of the good, our seeking of true. And of course, the highest part of the soul is our mind, or the Greek called the logos part of the soul. Reasoning. We seek to understand. Not just understand, but also know. The two together, wisdom. So the wisdom seeking. So if you had the virtue, if you assigned a virtue to those parts of the soul, logos or reasoning, the virtue of wisdom, understanding and knowing of self and reality. Or to making intelligible the underlying order of the particular things, so that you can benefit or bring out the particular advantage of each. That's why it should rule your soul. The name for that person ruled by the logos, the best, of course, is the philosopher king. The philosopher king, our ideal, or the true hero, we would say, because we're talking about the hero's journey on the stream. Now, if there are lots of people, the word aristocratic. To be ruled by the best. Again, it's a metaphor. The people who are aristocrats are, robber baron capitalists or belief-based manipulators. The royal family gets to do all the things and have all the money and gets to live, treat the planet Earth as their holiday resort because God said so, and will murder you in a war if you disagree. That's common aristocracy, but the way it's being used in the Republic by Plato is as a metaphor. To be ruled by the best, or reason, is either a philosopher king, if there's one of you, but if there's a bunch of people, the aristocratic soul. The virtue of wisdom. The outward seeking part of our soul, courage. We seek the truth. And it takes courage because it takes courage to let go of what we are used to doing. Our old beliefs, our old way of being. To drop our masks and old family clan ways of being in seeking of the truth takes courage. And you can look at even simpler examples. You're playing a sport game and you could win by doing a trick and sneaking a goal in by handballing it or something. But takes courage to say, no, that was a handball. I want to be seen as honorable or seek the truth of what I do. So there's our triad of the soul. We seek reality or the one. We reason through understanding. We want to understand the nature of reality. There's our reality. We seek the truth and we desire goodness. So desiring goodness, of course, the virtue would be temperance. Temperance. To recognize that every part of your soul should be unified in seeking a single good as determined by your reasoning. That's temperance. Now those are the three virtues of the soul, aligning to the three aspects or three forces that we have, which aligns to the triad that we need to apply in our understanding, says the book. The triad of the soul. We seek the real, the good, and the true. Our heart, our head. I might as well draw a picture, why not? Our head seeks the real or the one. Oops. The one or the real. Our heart seeks the truth. And our belly seeks our good. We desire our good. So these are the fundamental forces of the soul. So we call this the soul. And in the Republic, he aligns the virtue of wisdom, which of course we have defined in the text as understanding and experience of what's real, mind or self. And as we've been reading, to bring forth the intelligible structure and order of reality or whatever we're focused on. Wisdom. That should rule the soul. We've also seen it's the aristocratic class of soul. Courage we need as the virtue to seek the truth, even though it might not feel true at the time or we're not used to it. And temperance, to keep our cool, to keep your cool. Or cool-headedness, we'll say, because temperance is a funny word. Cool-headedness. So that you desire what wisdom says. You're not chasing your just random pleasures or losing your cool. Cool-headedness. Headedness. Now, to be ruled properly by wisdom is the aristocratic soul, which means all of the other classes of soul would be less, because aristocratic is the proper one, to be ruled by wisdom. There's one more virtue, of course, in the Republic. If you have all of these three, you can then function as your ideal. Our single-minded focus on a single activity that brings together all of these virtues or all of these forces of the soul, what we are calling the art of the dialectic, which is your functioning, your intended function, your justice, your highest way of being, justice as a virtue. So when you have the scissor handles, you have the pin doing its job, you have the blades nice and sharp, you have all three parts of the scissors doing their job, handles handling, the little pin is pinning, and the blades are sharp, then you can use it for its intended function, cutting things. The justice or the virtue of scissors. So too, when we recognize, when we are doing our best to learn the dialectic and master it, wisdom, we seek that because it's what the text is saying and what reason and understanding is showing us. Even though our beliefs tell us otherwise, we need courage to seek the truth, and we keep our cool along the way because we will face all sorts of haters internally and externally that usually reflect the voices of our family members to shut us down. We'll face all these kinds of interpreters trying to shut us down and haters along the way, like the chorus in the book. So we need to keep our cool as we seek that and not be distracted by the rewards and punishment or goods offered by those people. If we're doing all that at once, we can be singularly focused on our object of meditation, philosophical speculation, or the dialectical wondering about self and reality. That's our intended purpose or highest functioning. That's justice. So justice sort of sits above. But what we have been saying is, hang on a second. You're still just here. Sure, that's why you need those virtues, because you need to be keeping your cool and seeking with courage and understanding these texts and ruling yourself with the logos, because it ain't easy a lot of the time to move from the physical world of belief and pathologos to the world of mind, where we actually experience wisdom, understanding, and knowing, the level of mind or being. But we've been talking about this experience of the greatest experience, or the whole of all parts, or out of time, everything in time, isn't the end. It's bliss, it's beauty itself. But when, to quote Diotima, when you and your beloved reach reality and experience it as bliss, because you've been using love and logos as the principle of your relationship, that's when you start. It's from that point you give birth to true excellence, immortal excellence, an excellence that won't change, because even this experience comes and goes, because all experiences have a beginning, middle, and end. We want to go out of this Venn diagram circle of experience to know ourselves, by ourselves, or to be a friend of the gods and as immortal as any man can be. True excellence. So what would be the nature and functioning of true excellence? What would be that virtue? In the Republic, Socrates calls that virtue phronesis. Now, there are many words that are mistranslated in the translations of Plato, up until the one Balboa translation. This word is, from what I have seen, apart from the word self, the most mistranslated word, the most hilariously mistranslated word. all sorts of crazy English words are given to this, but that's why you have to be reading the Balboa translation if you want to be reading Plato. There's no other way around it, because the key terms are just not there. Otherwise, phronesis. There is no Greek word, there is no English word that comes close to this, because our language hasn't been developing along the ancient Greek line because of the influence of Latin and the church and Emperor Fuckface McGee.
The hell's wrong with you people? You sick freaks.
Sick freaks. So we need the word phronesis, which is the fifth virtue, which is, of course, the eternal one, the one that we want, the one of the self. So, you won't reach those higher states unless you are ruled by logos. To be ruled by wisdom or to be ruled by logos is the aristocratic. The corruption of that, so courage and cool-headedness or temperance is following wisdom, so you can be unified as a snowman like that. With the smallest part of the soul, the reasoning part, above the chest, above the belly. You don't want to be a misshapen snowman with your head following your chest, following your belly, or your heart ruling and your head underneath and your belly underneath that. If you did it that way, if the heart was ruling or your desire for honor was ruling, that's a corruption called the timocratic. So this is the classes of soul in the Republic. Timocratic. Now, if you're ruled by your desires, oligarchic. Oligarchy. And of course, if you don't pick any team, democratic. So you sort of move between, well, you wouldn't, yeah, you move between them. But eventually in a democratic, the people who are most motivated are the capitalists who are seeking to gain all the profits, feed all of the orphans into the orphan crushing machine. So the trillionaires who own the banks and all the houses and all the shit can earn an extra few pennies at the on their quarterly returns. The absurdity of our current system. So the oligarchics tend to abuse everyone else in a democracy. We don't have to look far to see that. And so a tyranny will emerge, be it Netanyahu or Trump or Putin or Hitler. They are the ones in charge at the moment. Tyrannical. They say, hey, you know how the oligarchs are taking all the making life not affordable, buying all the houses, like grifting you for food, murdering all of the people they don't like, setting up concentration camps, privatizing the prison system, all that sort of shit. You know those guys. Only I will drain the swamp. Vote for me, a fascist, religious dictator tyrant who will kill all your enemies. And then that's our current world as well. So we can really see the dynamics playing out of the fall into oligarchy, democratic, and tyrannical souls. Now, of course, even though we can see it playing out, it's still a metaphor. It's a metaphor to talk about classes of souls. So there are human souls that are arranged in a similar kind of a way. Says Plato. These are the 5 classes of soul. Aristocratic or philosopher king, and of course queen as well. Diotima was a philosopher queen, and she taught Parmenides. She taught Parmenides love and logos, the path to our purpose or enlightenment through love and logos. the ideal of relationships. That's in the symposium, and we will be reading the symposium soon on the channel, so that's exciting. All right. How do you spell philosophy? King or queen. So those are the 5 classes of souls he's talking about, and that was a brief rundown of those classes of soul, how they relate to the virtues that we have to develop along the way in the Republic, and how it relates to the 3 fundamental forces within our soul, seeking our singular activity that we can then motivate on, which leads us to know the self, ending up in our final goal. There's an end. The state of self. Cool-headedness, courage, wisdom, justice, and phronesis. Right, back to the book. Oh, and how it relates to the fact that we want to make sure that all 3 are unified in our quest for the self. The triad of the soul. Play a sound drop.
Gooners.
What? Gooners?
No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You're brave. You are crossing into new boundaries.
I thought so.
I'm too pure.
I am too pure. So the divisions of souls into classes in the Republic, hierarchically arranged into 5 classes. Let me just adjust. Okay. God damn it, I lost the ability to press my buttons.
What if a chimp had a cell phone? Who would he call?
Okay, we're back. The cultivation of these classes enlightens us to the power that can be released and manifest throughout us. Throughout the cultivation and activity of each. Cultivation of these classes enlightens us to the power that can be released and manifested throughout the cultivation and activity of each. Interesting. Cultivating these classes, what would that mean? Too low now. Having a bad lighting day. The psychic movement of mankind through any of the lowest classes or stages of the soul into the more advanced is the cultivation of the soul to realize more fully the destiny of man. Okay, that should have been Socrates' voice. Oh, I've lost my button. I've lost my buttons. Do I restart? I just clicked them. The psychic movement of mankind through any of the lower classes or stages of the soul into the more advanced is through the cultivation of the soul to more fully realize the destiny of man. Our purpose. We just mentioned that there's a purpose or destiny, a reason for our existence individually and collectively. Jesus. Ignore the little Jesus, because I have to click the button. Don't worry about it. Your repeated reference to the destiny of man brings me to wonder if that means you accept the idea that the soul is one, even though it expresses itself as many. So you got the soul, capital S, is one. Even though it expresses itself as the many. As many. Among mankind. Different classes, different peeps out there. So let me ask you, am I hearing that you are saying that there is a unity of the souls of man? Many believe that is a strange doctrine. Does it not suggest or mean that the particular souls are really only one? All the particular souls are really only one? Could we be? We recognizing other souls on the journey, recognizing the different ones, the most blocked, the most ignorant, the most pretending to be knowing about that which they're not knowing about, doing the most harm, and the best souls, the most people who embrace understanding the most, people who have the best heart and head, courage, and love of understanding or wisdom. But could we all just be the same soul? I say this because it is sometimes called a unicity of soul, or the unicity of soul. I've never heard that expression, the unicity. The unicity of soul. What does unicity mean? What does unicity mean? The state or quality of being unique. Something exists as one of a kind and not duplicated. The unicity of the artwork makes it extremely valuable. There is only one of it. How it is commonly used. Philosophy, to emphasize a singular existence. Who says unicity of the soul? Super uncomfortable today for some reason. I think it's the heat. Thomas Aquinas, there we go, argued for the unicity of the soul, that a human being has one soul and it is the single substance form of the body. Body? Aristotle. Aristotle's philosophy discusses the unicity of the soul as the form of the living body. Okay, so a bunch of people have this idea of unicity of the soul. Uniqueness, there's only one. Isn't that interesting? By the way, would recognizing that, both in understanding and directly experiencing the singular soul, would that make you more empathetic? Would it make you less likely to, support capitalism, the enslaving and destruction of our planet and our people? Would it make you less likely to do a genocide? Less likely for you to shoot people, punish people? If you recognize you were doing it to the same soul, that was you. So we can see that this idea of our development through the classes of souls makes you not only more intelligent, but more naturally empathetic. Good heart and good head. Oh, I got a text. Let me just reply to this text. Talk in my pause. Here we go. Sometimes called the unicity of soul. You heard well, and that is what many call the problem. It is possible to view it that way, but a better way is to say that all human souls, in their striving towards a spiritual fulfillment, express the destiny of man. Oh, what a sentence. Fuck me. All human souls, in their striving towards a spiritual fulfillment, express the destiny of man. What does that mean? Is it our destiny to go through a manyness of souls and experience all of the different classes of souls, all of the multiple ways of being or development that are attached to different kinds of levels of ignorance? And maybe different expressions of our excellence? And this one's a puzzle. What was that? So this is a puzzle. Take this as a question. What does it mean for Socrates to say all souls, in their striving towards spiritual fulfillment? So there's our idea of a singular destiny of man, or a singular meaning of life that we've been outlining as the dialectic, as the method for both understanding and experience. Also the cultivation of the virtues. Equally, the intellect, or the intelligible, is said to also have a unicity, and it is analogous so that of the unicity of the soul, analogy again, to that of the unicity of the soul. The unicity of the intellect strives for union with the one itself, and as it does so, it partakes of the supreme union. Fuck me, listen to that. Okay. That's profound. Wow. Let's see if we can make sense of that statement. Oh, I can't press the buttons. Okay. Blackboard. So, I think what we've been talking about is there being a kind of singular soul of the physical world. So soul, of course, has to be down here as well because it has a physical expression. So the singular soul of the cosmos. Likewise, we strive for the unicity, or the one state of mind of the intelligible, or the intellect. Oneness. One is one thing, it's one mind. And this intellect strives for the ultimate union with the one, or the unicity of the self. That's our purpose or destiny of man. So our many souls going through our developments in the human experience are playing a role in the destiny of man, which would be perhaps a waking up to the realization that there is a single soul with its many manifestations as part of a learning process, I suppose. We have to understand that. What is the destiny of man? What is the learning what is the reason for the manyness? And then the soul can move into perhaps the one of intellect, and the intellect striving for the ultimate unicity of our one self. So 3 levels again, matching our map, which is fantastic. But again, just a theory. Let's read on and see. I can't press the buttons. See what he says about it. All human souls, in their striving towards a spiritual fulfillment, express the destiny of man. Equally, the intellect, or the intelligible, is said to also have a unicity, and it is analogous to that of the unicity of the soul. The unicity of the intellect strives for union with the one itself. There we go. So there we have the unicity of the intellect. That's that penultimate spiritual experience, strives to for union with the one self, or the one itself. So that matches what we talked about on the map. And as it does so, it partakes in the Spirit's supreme union. What do you say, JC? We have done well, except for one thing. I wonder if we made a slip in our approach to this problem. Chorus is down here. Of our interpreters. I do believe we left out a very significant Christian philosopher. Ooh. Please say more, Jesus. If we left something out, we need to recover from our fall. Oh, recovering from a fall? Stands out as a weird thing to say. Could that be a clue in helping us make sense of the one many problem of the soul? Recovering from a fall? Does it help? Don't know. Carry it as a clue. Ficino! Hey, it's a Ficino! Ficino was a priest, says Jesus, a canon of the Cathedral of Florence, whose vision included Dionysius the Areopagite, which brings me to wonder in which of our divisions he belongs. He is unlike the Gnostic John that we discussed because of the rather amazing dedication he had in translating and making commentaries of much of your Platonic tradition. And on one of the letters of Paul. Boo, Paul. That's interesting, considering we've just read a few moments ago the idea that if your tradition lacks something that you need for your spiritual fulfillment or development, add it. You don't have to play favorites. I'm only reading Mormon books because my mummy and daddy were Mormon. That's fucking stupid. And here, there's this guy who's not just doing Christian stuff, he's also translating and making commentaries on Plato. So he seems to be fulfilling that instruction that Socrates gave us a few moments ago. He found in Dionysius a bridge, to your Plato, and created a synthesis of the Platonic tradition and Christianity. Now, so I just gave him some praise for not limiting himself to the kinds of limits his stupid ass parents told him. No Harry Potter for you.
I'm looking for someone to share.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Because we're some, I don't know, some weird religion. No, just read what you need to read to learn. But here he is trying to save the old. If he realizes there is a bridge from belief-based cognition, which is the cause of our suffering and problems, and ignorance and savagery, through Dionysius to Plato, where we can awaken understanding what we need to solve problems and reach our purpose and our spiritual fulfillment, then, you know, why are you both sidesing it? What are you, a goddamn lib? Are you a libtard? Is it the libs that say, the right of doing Nazi stuff and murdering people for profit and oppressing people through religious indoctrination, and the left want everyone to have healthcare and housing? I can't see a difference. I'm a liberal centrist. Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? In this, he shared a similarity to my Augustine, since he found a way into Christianity through his study of Plotinus. What the fuck? Now this is even worse. Now he's going backwards on the bridge. He found a way into Christianity through study of Plotinus. Boo. I guess maybe this is why Socrates was saying, I see a problem in Dionysius. All Socrates has done so far is praise Dionysius for smuggling in the understanding people need to escape their indoctrination and suffering. But he said, but he's still disguising himself. So what? So this. So if you are smuggling it in under the veil of Christianity, then someone might be reading Plotinus and then read this disguised Platonic philosophy. Say, oh, I guess there's no difference between understanding and belief. I guess religion is fine then. And hey, and they have the power, and they have the they do the killing. I want to do some killing, and I want to pretend to go to heaven, and I want to go on the Christian picnic. So instead of doing philosophy and actually developing understanding and helping people, if it's the same, then I'll just cross the bridge this way and go to Jesus picnics and stuff. So maybe that's the problem with what Dionysius was doing. By pretending to be Christian around at the time of Jesus when he wasn't, he could send people on, across the other side of the bridge, the wrong way of the bridge, wrong way down a one-way street. Socrates. You are right about that. We need to add him to our study. As I recall, he is the one who translated all of Plato's dialogues, Proclus, Plotinus, and even Dionysius's writings into Latin. Wait, I should mention, he also did a very good commentary on Plato's Parmenides. Ooh. Plato's Parmenides, of course, is the big dog. It is the most complete metaphysical thing. It has the 9 hypotheses, which is about the one self as the first, and the 8 subsequent classes of soul or states of being, cognitive functions as well, the 8 different stages that human beings can find themselves in. So it's that hierarchical order of the development of the soul that we've been talking about. So Parmenides is the big dog. So it's worth pointing that out because he's not just translating Plato, Proclus, Plotinus, and Dionysius, but we have good reason to think that, well, as Plato often ignored the one self, we might say that Plato's Parmenides stands a little bit different from the other Platonic dialogues. So it's worth making that point. Jesus. Ugh. Finding a good place to sit. Jesus, what effect did Ficino's way of being and his work have on Christian Europe? Whoops. His assumption, common to the age, was that Dionysius the Areopagite, whose writings became the cornerstone of Christian metaphysics. So yay, that's what we've been saying, but now we can see it in the text, which is important. Hooray. Were actually a work designed to appear as the follower of Paul. But in reality, they were written by one of Proculus's students. Ooh. Written by one of his students. All to mask Platonic philosophy under the cover of Christian images. It's a nice way of putting it. Before this was known, Ficino's writings gave an authentic stamp to a philosophical confirmation of this Christian doctrine, making possible the claim to be a philosophical Christian is to be a Platonist, and to be a Platonist is to Christian. So that would be the problem. So, by sneaking in philosophical understanding into the Christian propaganda, you could have people say, oh, therefore, considering we have, there can actually be a Christian metaphysics so long as you only look at this guy, you can have a philosophical confirmation of the Christian doctrine. Making possible the claim that to be a philosophical Christian is to be Platonist, and to be Platonist is to be a Christian. Is that a problem? Because we don't want to be identified with an image. We don't want to be limited by belief. And we don't want to smuggle in all the other shit about being a Christian. All of the other limitations and instructions to do harm. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Lots of puzzles. This is a puzzling one. Jesus, you say to mask Platonic philosophy under the cover of Christian images. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, we'll read 2 more pages. However, could you not say that he uncovered? So here is Jesus trying to save his crew. Wouldn't you not say that he uncovered a philosophical depth inherent to those Christian images, and so made visible what was there to be seen, even though few could see that before he said it? Now, it does seem that since we are both familiar with Ficino, we can ask about your understanding of how Dionysius was able to uncover the depth inherent in Christianity so that Ficino could carry the torch into the Latin world. Am I correct in saying that for all his vast insight and work, that he didn't place dreams as essential to philosophy? Okay, there's a few things going on here. So, we've been saying that Ficino's doing bad because being Christian means to be a believer in faith, which is irrational, opposed to rationality, and it justifies murder and genocide, and it's fucking terrible. Religion is a sickness of the mind. But here's Jesus saying, actually, is he saying that it was, hey, it's not a problem with Christianity, it's just a problem with every single human being who has misunderstood it and used it to justify oppression and torture and violence and the worst, the absolute, hey, you can't justify being bad unless you have religion. You can't make a rational argument for murdering or genociding, or that the Jews are the chosen people, or that Christians have to bring the end of the world so Jesus come back. It is impossible to make those immoral arguments unless you say it's in the Bible. Religion is a sickness. And here he's saying, oh, no. Ignore thousands of years of oppression and murder and torture and abuse of children, abuse of women. Ignore all that. Ignore the justifications of endless innocent lives being ended. Ignore that, because inherent it's just that nobody saw it. It's a pretty big ask there, JC. And of course, it's not true. There isn't a philosophical depth inherent in Christianity, because we have learned all the way through this book that philosophical development happens through the development of logos, understanding, and making use of self-reflection. Ousia and logos are specifically blocked through its imitation in the cognitive function of belief. It's here, it's the lesser, it's the fake ousia. I just know because it's in my heart. It's the fake logos. I get to kill that person because the Bible says so. And the Bible's true because the Bible says it's true. He is saying, oh no, inherent in that is the logos, is the actual ousia. And the logos and ousia of self. Garbage. It's not true. The only justification of any philosophical or metaphysical credence in Christianity is from Dionysius, who's smuggling in the logos from his being a student of Proclus from the academy. Dionysius, quoted over 1,000 times by Thomas Aquinas, and all of the subsequent Christian theologians follow Aquinas. Ficcioni is I don't know. I was trying to think of an insult. A spaghetti head. I don't know.
Just shut the fuck up forever. Just shut the fuck up.
Forever.
Just forever.
Just forever.
Chimps. A chimp kissed a fox once, I think. I do enjoy that.
Okay. Okay.
Bless you. Excuse you. Bless you.
Yes, excuse you for blessing you. I don't. Why do I have that drop? I think that's Emma saying bless you and then realizing that she said it in a funny way, and then she said bless you. Like, bless you. I mean, excuse you. I mean, bless you. Anyway, I don't remember why I thought that sound drop was funny. Back to the book. To that sound drop we say,
Kant's a little fucking bitch.
Kant's a little bitch. Hey, welcome Sus. How's it going? How's your new job been going? Are you saving lives? What up, handsome? Me? You're tired. Are you just back from your new job? How are you? I'm okay. I'm getting over the flu. I'm doing all right. It's getting hot here. It's super hot now. So I'm a bit uncomfy today because it's so hot in Australia. You say that you've started a new job and you're nursing? How's that working out? So, right, is there a actual depth inherent to Christianity that Ficino uncovered? And also, I think Jesus is picking up on the pattern that we've picked up on. Our job is to bring the dialectic of dreams into the light. That's our job. That's what has been left for us to contribute to the tradition, because Plato mentioned Socrates talking about. So in that same book that we've been reviewing, The Republic, where we talked about today the three forces of the soul, its corresponding three virtues. The fourth virtue, when you have them all of them together, and the mysterious fifth virtue that we seek. That's from the Republic. And as we go through that journey, we can go through 5 classes of soul: the tyrannical state of soul, the democratic state of soul, the oligarchic state of soul, the timocratic state of man, and the aristocratic, or the philosopher king or queen. In that same book, Socrates is outlining this and outlining the use of the dialectic to move from the physical world of becoming to know this ousia, the brilliant light of pure being, or again using that analogy of the sun, the light of the sun the greatest experience, the penultimate experience. And the person he's talking to, Glaucon, says, if that's the idea, the eidos, the experience of the one, what's the one? Or if that's the light of the sun, let's talk about the sun itself. And Socrates says, that is actually the second use of the dialectic. The dialectic to reach here is the first kind, and the dialectic to reach the self is the second use of the dialectic. But we can't talk about it because you are carrying a false pathologos belief about yourself that will block your development of that level of logos, that level of dialectic, that level of reflection. And the only way you can find, while we've talked about the different states of man, so as we are engaging in this aristocratic way of being, exploring the logos and dialectic, your tyrannical nature, or the tyrannical way of being from your family clan beliefs, will come in to block us. And while we've been talking about the 5 different kinds of the soul that we move through, the only way of specifically removing your tyranny is through dream analysis. In other words, to remove your pathologos, you don't just need midwifery or the dialectic, you also need dream analysis, because the specific content and clues about what you need, that you need to solve that puzzle, you only get from dreams. So that's the same book. So there's Plato making the having Socrates saying dreams are essential, but Plato never wrote a dialogue about dreams. And of course, we've mentioned the last teacher of the academy, Damascus, saying dreams are essential, but again, he didn't outline the structure and nature of dream analysis. We got Dionysius saying dreams are essential, but again, he wasn't able to figure out how to do it. And so here we have Jesus recognizing a pattern here that we've already recognized, so therefore we know our job is to master the dialectic and apply it to all 4 aspects: philosophy, perfecting truth, midwifery, removing our false beliefs, dream analysis needed for both, and sharing it. That's the dialectic on the dialectic. And that's why we also need to understand the ways human beings respond to new truth for us to be able to share it most artfully. So Jesus is recognizing the pattern, and here he is saying, I bet Ficino also saw the significance of dreams, but also failed to integrate it. That's his gamble. Let's see what Socrates says to this about there being an inherent depth to Christianity. I'm guessing he's going to say garbage. I'm guessing he's going to say,
Calm your fucking tits.
oh my goodness.
Fuck you. Actually, you have severe mental illness and you need to be fucking checked into an insane asylum.
Into an insane asylum for saying that, right?
Chimps. A chimp kissed a fox once, I think. I do enjoy that.
He
You know,
always
some people
enjoys
would
that.
chase a chimp around. Some people
you
would,
would.
devote themselves to all kind
would
of
do the chimp.
science or art or experimentation. Who knows?
It's a total shit show.
It's a total shit show, my soundboard talking about chimps. Crazy. What does Socrates say to this? Socrates says, yes, he was another of those who did not mention the importance of the studies of dreams. Oh, he didn't mention it. So, in that category of people who... Number 6. Advancing certain parts and ignoring other important parts, like Plato, Proclus, Damascus. So in that sense, he's in category 6, in that he left out the how to do dream work, or stressing the significance of dream work. Press that button. Interesting, Socrates is ignoring the fact that Jesus is saying that there was actually an inherent depth to the imagery. But you could say the same thing about anything. Say, oh yeah, there's an inherent depth to Harry Potter. So long as someone who actually does understand the Logos, an actual philosopher, thumbs up, comes along and reinterprets all of the imagery to stress that, hey, the story about Voldemort is a description of how human beings project their pathologos belief-based ignorance onto key figures. And also, if you think about the relationships between Hermione and Harry Potter, you can think about how, in the ideal sense, they reflect the ultimate relationships. Yeah, because if there's something good, it reflects the good. And the good is ultimately the Logos, or the self. The inherent intelligibility of the good is the Logos. So yeah, you can make that argument about everything. There's an inherent philosophical depth to Harry Potter, so long as you have someone like Dionysius stuffing it in there. Socrates ignoring that point. That's a curious thing. What does Jesus have to say? Well, since we have seen how Ficino brought about the marriage of the demands of faith, oh fuck me, with the higher use of reason, okay, the marriage of the demands of faith, which is again bad, and the higher use of reason, which is good, which illuminates the soul with truth, then with that union we can find another class or division. He found the bridge between the two, so that we could call this class the bridge builders, says Jesus. He found, while we may sing him praises, he is no longer regarded as worthy of study and contemplation. As you know, he believed Dionysius' works were genuine, and that Dionysius was a companion of Paul. So after the discovery that Paul was actually a student of Proclus, Ficino was cast aside. Okay. Your idea that Ficino can be regarded as a bridge builder leaves out the primary role that Ficino played out in his life. He built his thought upon one who was in disguise. Oh, this was the criticism he had of Dionysius. And only appeared to be loyal to the core beliefs of Christians, and interpreted them in terms of an alternative system, Platonic philosophy. That's what we're saying. Anyone who's a follower of this channel could play the same game to Harry Potter or anything. Make an analogical connection so long as you're bringing in the true understanding. Good heavens, says Jesus. It appears we need another member of the family of interpreters. What shall we call him? You know him better than I do. Oh. Excuse me. First, I'd say he accepted a deceiver's teaching of the value of a tradition of a Platonic philosophy without realizing he was fooled. He accepted a deceiver's teaching. He passed on the writings of Hermetic philosophy, as well as, okay, right, a hidden inner knowledge, or hidden knowledge and inner transformation. I think the claim was, well, if we can find these categories of understanding and states of development and within the Bible because of Dionysius, then You can just magic your way into it if you have faith and you kill enough Muslims and oppress enough women. Divine revelation. I think that's the idea of Hermetic philosophy. I'm going to have to look that up after the stream. He passed on the writings of Hermetic philosophy, as well as the translations and commentaries of Plato's dialogues, and did commentaries of Plato's Parmenides, but of course excluded the value of dream work. Boo. His work became a synthesis of two traditions until they were rejected. Now that is good, but I still do not have a clear picture of where he fits into the class of interpreters, says Jesus. Let me try again. He is an interpreter who unwittingly Platonized Christian core beliefs and added to the new tradition, and added to the new philosophical tradition a profound depth. Okay, he's really... He fell on the good side of the text, the good side of the fence, the glass half full. He's an interpreter who unwittingly Platonized Christian core beliefs and added to the new philosophical tradition a profound depth. So I guess he added something in... I mean, if he's adding to Dionysius, he's still fooled. So there are some conclusions we can reject, that there is an inherent depth to the tradition. But so long he's just playing on Platonic ideas, he can add to that tradition. But of course, he still doesn't include dreams. Jesus says, I can go for that. And Socrates says, well, if it be so, then so be it. I'm not happy with that at all. There's so many problems. So we can see the inherent problem of being the deceiver. You can deceive other people to make false conclusions. Oh, well, if this guy wrote this thesis about Harry Potter and Hermione reflecting the true nature of the philosophical relationship for enlightenment, then it must have been there the whole time. And it's just that no one saw it. No, there's that problem. So the problem with Dionysius. There's a problem with Ficini's conclusions that there is inherently the possibility for philosophical development through faith. There's the false conclusion that you have to accept the demands of belief or faith, which of course are always bad. Why would you accept that bullshit? But Socrates ended with the idea, well, even though he was fooled, he did add something to Dionysius. So if you did want to bridge your way from Christianity to understanding, while not giving up your Christianity, you can still use Dionysius and focus on that, and add some Ficini in there, and he might give you a bit more of an understanding. So long as you know that is actually just the Logos. It's just actually Platonic. Tricky one, isn't it? To be deceived by number 7. So... Oops. We would have number 8, some sort of having been deceived by those appearing loyal to the old, continuing that tradition and adding more in. But of course, you'll have certain conclusions that you can't make about the system itself, about Christianity itself, and certain other conclusions, and therefore accept faith, and accept, kill Muslims or something, or oppress women. So Socrates saying, hey, you can add to that philosophical tradition, but of course there are going to be some other problems, having been deceived by the number 7. So that's what we'll work on next time. Work on nailing down that definition of number 8. And of course, after that, we have the exciting haters from the chorus. See the chorus on the screen coming up next? That's always fun to see what the haters will say, because the haters will say something like,
Kant's a little fucking bitch.
Kant's a little bit.
Kant would say some fucking bullshit.
Bullshit. Kant would say some fucking bullshit. And the chorus will say,
Freaks. I've been a bad little girl. If you're experiencing a mental health episode, we don't want to have to see that.
And I find that very entertaining.
and we will find that very entertaining next time. So, interesting discussion about the merits of what Dionysius did and the inherent problems that come with being a deceiver. And one of those problems, of course, is Thomas Aquinas creating the metaphysical scholarship of Christianity based on that, and everyone that follows justifying religion or Christianity based on that. And we have Ficini, who even got into philosophy, but then was mistaken. Well, if it's in Christianity and it's in Plato, they must be the same. It's the liberal argument. Nazis and people who want universal healthcare, I don't see a difference. The centrists. So equally so, in that 8th category, we can see some problems as well. We can see Ficini maybe using his work and commentary that he did on the Platonic dialogues, and apparently he did some good work on the Parmenides. You should maybe look into that at some stage on the channel. Using that to add to Dionysius, he did add something good, but of course it's smuggled in with all his problems. But that's what we've been seeing as the human condition. Everyone has a level of vision or experience and a level of understanding in the good, and a level of false belief and image about self and reality. So everyone has their logos and pathologos mixed together, which gives us this map, because it's the mixing of our inherent false beliefs and our development of experience and understanding that gives us all of these. It gives us the variety of these different interpretations, which may even match the different stages or kinds of the soul. And as Socrates says, we have to, in some way, go through each of them in human experience as part of the unisic or the one soul's development. We have to experience all the different mixtures of combinations of logos and pathologos, understanding and belief, causing our different interpretations and responses to truth, making it easier or harder to develop and learn to reach the understanding and experience of the one soul, and to move from that to the understanding and experience of mind or intellect, and that wants to reach the one self, which is our ultimate purpose, destiny, goal of man, destiny of man. So maybe all of these interpretations, which may correspond to the different qualities or kinds of soul, is something necessary we have to go through as part of our purpose. So our job, therefore, is to carry that as a question as we continue to read, so we can develop theories about it. So there's our theories or ifs or logos, and create imaginations or speculations about it, questions and imaginations. There's our questions. That's our ousia and logos about those questions, which can be a preparation for us to be able to verify our speculations and dialectics, our philosophical speculation. Well, it's just a dialectic about these things. In other words, we will only know which theory that we've come up with is the right one when we experience it. But it's the activity of creating these theories. That's our purpose as human beings. Because it's that which is the method for the experience, and it's only in that experience we can turn around and say, oh, yep, by having experienced the one soul, I recognize the significance of my ignorance there and my lifetime here and why all of the many souls went through what they did. Now, if you haven't been developing and nurturing that question and carrying that question, and you haven't been developing dialectical answers or theories to make sense of it, then you won't have that in mind when you experience the one soul, so you won't be able to get an answer. You won't know. That's why we're doing what we're doing. So that when you do have this experience, it's not like, what the heck was that? It's like, now I know what to look for. I recognize this because of my understanding and meditation, my dialectic. I recognize this is likely the one soul. Oh, I have that question. Oh, now I can see for myself the answer to that question. How did I get there? Did I get there from a many soul to the one? Was I always the one soul? Why was there a many soul? What was the benefit of, did I do many souls of different reincarnations? What was the benefit? You will only be able to answer those questions if we've been doing this work or giving birth to these questions and dialectics. In the meantime, it's not only the method for having the experience, it's needed to take with us to that experience so we know what to look for. And of course, what we've been wondering about is not just the one soul and how it relates to the many souls, but the one intellect, or the nature of being, the one intellect, and of course the one self. So it's that's our purpose, that's our meditation, that's our learning, that's how we make use of Usia and Logos. And we equally have those questions about the soul, the one soul, and the significance of the ups and downs, the pros and cons of Dionysius, and the pros and cons of Ficini, and how all of those these people, Paul, Ficini, Mark, John, Plotinus, how they all fit together. And why? Why all these responses? Why not just, hey, Socrates comes along, shares the Logos, why don't we just say, yep, and we all benefit? Why do we have to go through all of these rejections and misinterpretations and creating of new traditions and both sidesing it and coming to these false conclusions or taking a little bit or pretending to take it on when why do we have to go through all that? And how does all that relate to the different kinds of souls? And why is it all necessary as part of a great justice? Oh my God, so many goddamn questions. That's good. That's the job. That's our job. We've given birth to a ton of great questions today. So we've done a lot of work on answering lately, but today our work is on questions. And as we've said, it's both. Our human purpose, or the singular function that once we're unified with the wisdom, courage, and temperance, our singular function we can do at all times to give birth to justice, that ideal way of functioning, which is the dialectic, it seems, our human functioning, which is the method to reach phronesis, or the state of self. That art, therefore the purpose, the meaning of life, the art of the dialectic, makes use of questions and answers. You gotta have both. We've been doing a lot of answering lately in building those maps on the board, but today was a episode of questions. Oh my God, so many questions. Almost no answers, lots of questions. But it's both, the art of both. And hey, maybe that's a clue. Us going through having 20 questions today and no answers, and feeling what that feels like to be puzzled, to be confused, and therefore maybe that's needed for understanding the virtues. Because you have to be okay with being puzzled and keep moving forward anyway, carrying that question, carrying that puzzlement, courage. And it can be confusing and frustrating. You might want to give up. Temperance, keep your cool. So you're actually experiencing what it's like to have those virtues that are more necessary when you're puzzled and you don't know. To keep reading anyway, wisdom, follow the Logos anyway. To keep going, courage. Keep your head, temperance. And as a dialectician whose ideal functioning from self would be to facilitate that development of other human beings or life forms, maybe that's part of the answer of why there are many souls. Here you are experiencing what it's like to be puzzled without an answer, because you will have to help people give birth to questions. But you can, maybe there's something like the fact that you've gone through it yourself may help you as a dialectician. You know how puzzled it's going to be. You know how hard it's going to be because you've felt it. You've been through it. You've experienced that kind of soul. Because being able to ask the right questions and also judge the answers and keep the answers on track, keep the questions relevant, that's the dialectic. So maybe our giving birth to a bunch of puzzles and questions today, it could be a clue to some of those questions we're carrying. Isn't that fascinating? I think it's amazing.
Wow. Ow, 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 ow. Wow.
Wow. Whew. And next time, exciting, we get the haterade coming in from the chorus. That'll be exciting too. Wow. So many questions. I'm so puzzled right now. And I hope you are too. And thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today. You can like and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch and join the Discord. There's a PDF below. And if you do want to donate to the channel, that is greatly appreciated and a big help. Thank you. Stay puzzled out there. And I will see you in the next one.